Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode. I am your host, Infinite, and I am here with my guest, ZeeBee.
Hi.
ZeeBee is an Afro-Latina author, comic artist, and illustrator, and we're going to be talking about her graphic novel. Please introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hi, I'm ZeeBee. I also go by One Layer Girl, and if you're an anime junkie, then you'll know that is derived from One Punch Man. And I just, made that my own and stuck with it. So yeah, I started this graphic novel in late 2017. It's actually originally it started as a spin-off comic of another comic I was working on called Shadow Guardian, which I started in 2013. But then when I introduced Ruby and Rosa into that story, I was like, I love them so much, they deserve their own story. So that's how our little universe came into fruition in 2017, and now this is officially my main passion project, and all my other comics are on hiatus and probably not going to continue anymore. Shadow Guardian was my first. Then I made one that's called Rose Petals. Then I made one called Dark Heart. And I was juggling all three of those. And
Wow.
then, yeah. And they were all different genres. So it was like, there's a bunch of
Wow.
range. And I can't, in my 20s, I was a grinder. I can't even believe
I
I was
love it.
balancing three comics, but I'm glad to be balancing one. But she girthy, like, this is long. We're talking about like close to 800 pages now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's a long
Wow.
story, and it's still more to go. So this is like probably going to be my life's work. I don't know when I'll be able to end it, and I don't want to do it anytime soon. So that's fine with me.
Yes. So, in the story of these two lovebirds, what are you exploring beneath the surface?
Okay, so underneath the surface, especially with Ruby and Rose's relationship, I'm addressing the idea of having a romance with someone in which there are generational racial tensions already in place. And I don't think so many people catch up on that. I mean, I'm obviously Afro-Latina, so I am speaking from just the experiences I live. So which for them, like Ruby and Rosa, that's essentially like a forbidden romance. And Rosa is the Usian, and Ruby is a shadow demon, and both their races are currently in a whole war with each other because it's a war that a shadow demon started by, essentially being power hungry and wanted to take from the Usian, but amidst all of that, they cross paths, and also amidst that, the message is that even though, there are people doing bad, like, people in race doing bad things, there are people within that race doing good things because there are shadow demons
Right.
fighting against those that want to massacre that race of Lucian people and, protect them and do what's right. So Ruby is the one who wants to do things right, and they end up in the same academy, and that's how they, ended up being fighting partners, and eventually, you know, being kind of, forced to move in together because that's a policy of the school. Like, you got to move in with your partner because they can fuse together, and, got to be connected with them. So,
Fuse together.
yes, yes, these ladies are not damsels in distress. All of these women can fight.
I know
So,
that's right. Period. As you should. That's right.
yeah, so it really underlying is like the addressing of, like, racial tensions, but also having that forbidden romance you're not supposed to have because, like, our races are in war with each other, and it just kind of reflects on like how society has been for all of us since, we've been here, like, racial between white and black, and,
Uh-huh.
so forth. So it kind of addresses that, but, it's like a light dressing of because I don't want to make the comic too political because I still want the
Yeah.
fluff there. But besides, that political theme, there's the themes of Black excellence, especially when it comes to Fury, because she's a wealthy character. She is also neurodivergent, and yeah,
Okay, yeah.
you don't see
That's
that,
important.
but yeah. So she's into science and technology, and you just don't see much of that, like
Mm.
with like Black characters. And I didn't want any of my characters to fall under a stereotype. Like, I wanted their personalities to just strictly be their own. And the other themes is just healing, self-preservation, emotional growth, self-acceptance, deep connection, exploration, and triumph over all obstacles.
I love that. That's awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Now, okay, I'm gonna ask you about this category, right? Because I always get it mixed up between the guys. So the guys or the boys love in our anime world is called, is it yaoi,
Yaoi,
or
yaoi.
it's yaoi for the men, right? And
Yep.
for the women is
Yuri.
yuri. Okay. So your graphic novel is considered yuri,
It's Yuri.
right? I'm like,
Yeah.
we just made this distinction and I still was like about to say yaoi. I don't know why. Because yaoi just sounds so much more fun to say, and I don't know why that R and yuri throws me off.
Yeah, yeah. And yaoi is more popular technically. Like a lot of people are into BL, and I guess Yuri is just starting to take off, which is good for me because I'm in a niche
Mm-hmm.
and I also make diverse characters, which you do see much of in the Yuri genre.
Right. And and why do you think yaoi is more popular? Is it because it's like something that's so like maybe kind of forbidden? It's kind of like a hush hush thing, like you don't talk about two guys together. Is it because it's so like taboo as opposed to like two women being together? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I guess it is the idea of two guys being together, and the same reason that I don't know if you've heard of the show Heated Rivalry that came out in HBO Max about two gay hockey players, and it's a whole bunch of sex scenes, and I'm like, okay, but
I
I think
did
that
hear about it briefly. I heard it was a little scandalous. Yeah.
I'd love to see that, but I would also love to see more lesbian stuff like that because I feel like there's more gay representation than lesbian. And I feel like lesbians definitely need more in the media. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for everything LGBTQ. So I mean, I don't have a
Yes.
problem, but I just would love to
Support,
see.
support.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Now, with that being said, how do you keep the scenes between the two of your characters authentic and not performative?
I'm a demisexual lesbian, and for people who do not know what a demisexual is, it's basically like you get more aroused by like connection, like emotional connections over like the physicality of like being intimate with somebody. So it kind of like strengthens everything when you like have all the emotions aligned and stuff like that. So I mean,
Absolutely.
when I draw and write, because it's like for both, I tend to focus more on the emotionality over the physicality of sex. And that is literally the main reason I don't draw genitals at all. Like you go down my page, you've never seen me draw a vagina in my
Mm-hmm.
life because I feel like it's very exploitative. And I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
knocking the artists who draw stuff like that. It's just like for me, it's not a turn on for me to just stare at genitals,
Focus on the genitalia. Yeah.
yeah, I'm more focused on emotions and yeah, but I mean, I do draw breasts and butts, and I know how to make a good hot sex scene without having to
Yes.
draw genitals.
Right.
I
Right.
just, I just think there's more beauty in demonstrating intimacy in its raw emotional moments instead of like being zone focused on the physical.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, what made you write this romance? Because romance, I can't speak for nobody else, but to write a romance, like if someone asked me to sit down and write a romance, honestly, I don't think I could. I don't know if I could do it because I mean, and like anything, but I mean, especially with romance, right? It's not just one layer. It's multifaceted. It's so many different things. You're not only concerned about your feelings and emotions, you're also having to take into the other person's
Right.
emotions into account, and it's a lot of back and forth. It can be a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I would probably be too stressed trying to write it out.
Well, I got into like the romance aspect of it because, well, one, Ruby and Rosa were literally the first lesbian couple I've ever drawn in my life. Like, I was closeted for a long time. Actually,
Mm.
making this series is what made me come out of the closet because I'm like making a lesbian
Oh.
story now, and my mom was like,
Ta-da!
low key, she was like, "Why do you love those characters so much?" I'm like it, but my
Mm-hmm.
parents are accepting of my sexuality and stuff like that, but romance, I feel like I myself have not had very great relationships, to be
Mm.
honest. They were very toxic. So that's why I put so much emphasis on showing positive relationships with healthy communication and like just people that are focused on, doing the work on not just the relationship, but also themselves. Cause I just never had that great experience in
Mm.
my relationships, both like men and women. And now I strictly just date women. And, I've only dated two women since I came out, but both
Mm-hmm.
of those were very tumultuous relationships. So going in as a baby lesbian and having that back to back was pretty rough.
Right, right. I can imagine.
I'm on my healing journey now. I've been on my healing journey for almost 3 years now, and just doing the work to put my
Very
pieces
good.
together. And yeah, it's just like romance because it's so introspective. Like, it's not only
Mm,
focusing on the relationship. You gotta
yeah.
deal with the feelings of each person. And I feel like a lot of like the representation, like when I see for like sapphic media, for example, which there isn't many of, there's a few sapphic books and stuff out there, but I don't feel they take that deep dive into like really good emotional building. It's just
Hmm.
like surface level. Oh, like cute, let's get together. Like, I wasn't
Hmm.
about that. Like, I
Yeah.
like the kind of like the inner feelings of, oh, should I do this? Like, is this the right move? And yeah, and just building from there. That's why this volume is like going to be like 400 pages. I already know it because it's almost 300. I'm like not done yet. So yeah, been doing a lot of
Okay.
slow burn.
So you're pulling from your own personal experiences and maybe things that you wish you would have seen and had the experience of while you was in these relationships, like more
Mhm,
communication, more understanding, kind of let's sit down, let's talk about
mhm,
it, some self-awareness
yeah,
practices.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah. Less toxicity because like no one has time for that. I'm 35 and I just don't have the tolerance for it.
Nobody. Girl, I ain't had time for it at 20. I was like, please do not. Let's just be happy. Let's have a good time. Like, no drama.
Yeah,
It's no need for it.
right.
Life is so beautiful. Like, let's just be
Yeah,
happy. And,
right.
I understand people having, bad days. Not everyone's, you're not going to be all, giggles and bubbles every day, but also don't take your bad day out on me. And let's be emotionally aware.
Yeah.
Let's have emotional intelligence and about those things. So, yeah. I understand, girl. I understand. Okay. So now this is the part that's like, I don't know. I'll be trying to put myself in your shoes. I'm just like, I feel like it's a whirlwind because you're doing all of it. Like you're coming up with the story, you're making an animation for it, you're illustrating it. Like you are the workshop
Yeah.
in the building, in the workers, like one stop shop. Boom, boom, boom. Like you're the whole factory. And so it's like, where do you start? Do you start with the visuals or the story first? Or is it really no start or finish?
Well, I have a like one Google Docs document of like notes I took per volume. Like, I mean, I don't have anything made up for volume 5 yet. So it's go with the flow thing. And I draw the pages first, but I don't have any scripts. I don't have any episodes written out in advance. I literally only have notes of
Mm,
like plot points and like, important key details about the character. But I am drawing these not knowing what the characters are going to say. And then after it's drawn,
mm,
then the dialogue comes to me. So it's a constant, like, I guess it's a constant thing because I'm always thinking about it in the background.
yeah.
But yeah, I just I make my pages and I kind of go with the flow, and people are kind of shocked by that because I don't make any
Wow.
scripts or anything. It is.
So you're keeping it like you're pretty flexible. Like you're
Yeah.
kind of loosey goosey with it. Like, okay, these are what you have the plot points. And it's like you kind of build upon there. But I actually think that's pretty good because I don't know if maybe the other way around, if you were like maybe super rigid about it. If maybe you'll be burnt out. I mean, have you dealt
Yeah.
with burnout? Like, do you get burnt out sometime? Do you take some time off? Like, how are you navigating burnout and keeping up with the ideas between, you kind of have the background made, but not knowing where the characters are going to be in those said backgrounds or what they're going to say.
Right. Well, I do get burned out. Like if I if I overextend myself, then I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. So I think last year I started making just a monthly schedule because I used to just work on it like every 2 weeks, which is a lot.
Mm,
So now I just make sure to get an episode out monthly instead of like trying to break my neck every 2 weeks trying to get out new episodes because it's a lot. But
mm-hmm.
I have experienced burnout, especially when, platforms are acting crazy or trying to censor me. And, Amazon, the recent one, that was big because I had my books out for 3 years and then they decided to take away my account. So I decided to take a break from making them physical again until I finish this volume. Then I'll focus on getting like the physical books back. But I'm giving myself grace there because, I work really hard. The series is almost 10 years old. So
Right.
yeah.
Now, I was going to ask about that because I was about to crash out. I saw your post and you was like, I need answers, I need help with no rhyme or reason. I just got told that they're pulling my book and it's been on here for X amount of time. I was flabbergasted. I was upset. I was about to crash. I said, "What do you mean they're getting rid of her book? Like, why would they just do that with no explanation? Just like overnight, 1 minute is there, next minute is gone." And I was I'm sure I wasn't as upset as you were, but I was offended. I was also upset. I was like, that's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. And so I was going to ask you about, censorship. Have anyone ever tried to convince you to like maybe tone it down? But like you said, you're not drawing, genitalia, you're not doing anything that's super overtly, but some people still have like their different gauges for whatever they may find is acceptable. And so have you had received any pushback like that from people saying, oh, you should maybe tone it down a little bit?
Well, the first incidents of like knowing that active censorship was going on, I had started this series on Webtoons. That's basically where I got my start in getting more publicity for the comic.
Yeah.
And they started removing episodes that didn't even have sex in them, had like a slightest bit of nudity. So I was like, okay, well, Webtoons is trying to stifle any little thing. And I've seen comics on there that have like nudity in it. So
I was gonna say, I feel like
yeah.
Webtoons be having kind of some everything on there. And I've heard about some little scandalous things on Webtoons.
Yeah.
So what's that
Well,
about?
I feel like it's biased too because I feel like I guess they like more of the hetero comics to have that kind of publicity around like
Mm.
nudity and sexuality. But when it comes to like, BL or GL, then they're like, oh, we're going to censor you because we don't like that. Even if the comic is good, it's like, whatever. So, yeah, that's why I'm
Which
kind
is
of,
crazy. I'm like,
yeah.
you're a comics platform. You should want all the comics to do good, you know?
Yeah, and they offer mature content a filter for the series. So it's not like I put it
Right.
out there and didn't have the mature content thing up. So I'm like, okay, what is really going on? I don't know if it was because my characters or the love interests are like black and Hispanic or, seeing the interracial couples. I don't know who I pissed off. I was just like, okay, something's.
Who did I piss off? Like, what's the reason? Because I did everything I was supposed to do.
Yeah. So that's why I'm blessed to have my own website now because that is the landing page for literally everything. And I feel so much safer having a website now because it's like my safe haven where I know, like, if I get canceled somewhere else, I still have the website to, like, be able to create authentic as I want.
Yes. I love that. So now you have your own website and people can go there and see everything directly.
Yep. And I don't have to censor myself. That domain I pay pretty penny for that website. It's not going anywhere.
I love it. I love it. That is so awesome. And it's so important because I know even with doing this podcast and speaking with like other podcasters, and I was kind of going back and forth about what all I want to be able to do like on my website and how much building and all these things. And the common consensus with anyone, especially when it comes to any kind of business or anything that you're running, that anything that you have ownership over, right? Anything that you feel like is yours, anything that you kind of worked on, you want it to be a sense of they can come back to the source to get, your customers or your community, your people can come back to the source to get whatever they're looking for without having to go through a third party first, and maybe the third party not allowing them access for any reason. They can go back to you directly because they know they want to support you.
Right. Yes. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm happy to get that. And the irony of that is I feel like I started making more through my website than I was getting through Amazon because Amazon takes a very huge chunk of the royalties for their authors. So, it was a blessing.
Yes, girl, you better make your money. Okay, that's right. It's all supposed to be coming to you. I mean, you could pay people for the upkeep of the website, but you did all the work. You did the heavy lifting. Yes. Okay, so how does your identity as an Afro-Latina creator shape the stories that you decide to make? Well, I think we kind of touched on that one a little bit, but if you have any more to say, I guess to add to.
Well, for anyone who really knows the original, you would know that there are barely any characters of color in it. It is very rare to see that. So I've been looking, and there's like a few spotted here and there, but yeah, in the Yuri genre specifically, there are hardly any characters of color. But one notable Yuri anime is Yutana Revolutionary Girl. Don't know if you know that one. That is very old, but still pretty relevant. They had a girl of
Hmm.
color in there, and I was like, oh, like that was the love interest. So, I thought that was really cool. But
Yeah.
I guess in that sense, since, I'm involved in the eerie genre, a whole bunch of diverse characters is a commodity. And it
Mm.
mainly basically just shows that, I embrace diversity, and the characters also don't fall into a stereotype that we often see, like with, Black or Hispanic characters. They take on unique personalities of their own, and they're authentically and unapologetically themselves. So each personality is just very unique in their own right. And yeah, I mean, I, as an Afro Latino growing up, I was bounced around in different communities here and there, and it's kind of hard to you know, fit in when, I am also neurodivergent myself. And I always felt like I was an outlier in a lot of things. So I was bouncing from
Mm-hmm.
different groups, trying to, find where my place is. Still as an adult, trying to do that as well. But as I get older, I'm kind of like laid back about that. And I kind of starting not to care. Like, it is what it is. Like, whoever I meet, we click, that's fine. If not, I'm fine in my own element. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I agree with you on that for sure about like being an outlier. Like, I could kind of like talk to different like people like in the groups like growing up in high school. But for the most part, I guess like I kind of like hung with like the outliers, like if you will, like if it was a group of outliers, like none of us were considered like quote unquote cool, not a football player, not a cheerleader, not in the cool, one of the cool kids or whatever. And it's like even to this day, I'm just like I'm fine with being myself. Like I know I'm an
Yeah.
introvert. I don't need to seek out to be in
Mhm.
necessarily a group of people. That
Yeah.
doesn't make me feel necessarily validated. Like
Right.
I'm fine with sitting in my own silence.
Mhm.
And I find that that bothers a lot of people though, because a lot of people are
Yeah.
like, well, why are you just by yourself? Like, why aren't you doing X, Y, and Z? And is there something wrong? Or,
Right.
there people always wanted to like I would say like kind of self project on you, but then also
Yes.
like trying to rope you into things. And it's like,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
Like, thank you, but I'm fine. You're actually going to
yeah,
stress me out in a minute
right.
because you're doing too much.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like, the people that are okay with themselves and don't need like the outward distractions are like the most dangerous people you can deal with, because they don't take
We don't care. We're like, listen, I'm over here living my life. I'm good.
Yes,
Just leave me alone.
exactly.
Are there any reactions that you ever received from your graphic novels that really surprised you and like stuck with you over the years?
Well, as far as like the erotic content, like I already spoke of the censorship, because TikTok totally banned me in 2022, and I wasn't even making erotic content on there. It was just lesbian
Wow.
animations. And I think also being a lesbian animator who's just specifically animating lesbian couples, it gets good and bad attention, because, there's homophobes out there. That is the reality. And when they see you doing something well, or like putting an exposure out there and going viral because of it, of course they're gonna mass
Mm,
report you and try to get you removed. And that's exactly what happened in 2022. And now that's probably one of the reasons I don't use TikTok now, because I'm like, well, I already got banned, and I almost had like 250,000 followers there. And yeah, it was a lot. So yeah, it's like one after the other, like Webtoons, TikTok, and then Amazon. Just, I don't know what the
that's
censorship is, but
crazy.
no, but I'm very resilient, and that's why I'm like, yes, I built
Yeah.
my website from scratch myself. I am not even a web designer. I put my all into that website, and
You
people
built it.
comment it all the time, because they're like, I've never seen a website that's so creative before. Like, it's just so interactive, and I'm like, yes, because I drew out the layout and I put that shit together. Like, I
Wow.
really gone into it.
Now tell me, how long did that take?
It took a couple of months, and then it still went after I launched it. It still went through, a couple revamps, because I listened to
Hmm.
people's feedback. Like, oh, I can't click this. Okay, well, let me make this clickable. And I just
Right.
listened to people's feedback and try to make it as nice and user friendly. And yeah, I love where it is at right now.
Girl, I was gonna, my Luffy hat too far away from me. I was gonna take my hat off to you
Yeah.
because, I mean, you're already eons above me as far as like the internet stuff and like the digital technology, because you deal with that with your animation and illustrating stuff. But I mean, just me now really being like, no, I'm going to stay consistent and I'm going to really like hunker down and move forward with my podcast and all the things that I want to do. And me like being like, okay, I'm going to also start streaming on Twitch and trying to figure out that. And then like, because I don't particularly be on social media like that, but it's like, that's how you reach the masses. So it's like
Right.
you have to engage with
Mhm.
social media.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, okay, now you have to learn this algorithm. And
Yeah.
there's this and there's that. And when should you post, when should you not post, blah blah blah.
Right.
All these little like small like intricacies of things.
Mhm.
And then on Twitch, it's like, okay, I don't have to, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
to make it maybe look appealing, you have to figure out how to do an overlay. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
learning all these new skills and all
Mhm.
these things. And I'm like, wore out. Like, it's kind of
Yeah, I mean,
stressful.
I've been there. When I was in my 20s, I felt like I was just all over the place trying to
Yeah.
get hold of every platform. I was on Twitch. I was on like Carto or whatever that app is for
Mm.
artists that like stream their work. I was everywhere. But now that I'm older, I learned to like, because I'm going to say it, I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
Mm.
Not a lot of people want to admit that, but I do. And so much that I put a boundary on social media, like I'm there to share. Like if I wasn't sharing, people will still wait for me to post my art. I don't have to be there every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just take breaks when I can. I'm not endlessly scrolling and trying to find the next trendy thing to animate to. Because when I was building my main TikTok that had almost to
Mm-hmm.
250,000, I was constantly scrolling trying to find trendy songs to animate to. I don't do that anymore. If
Mm.
I hear a sound on TV, then I'm like, oh, I'll animate to that. And I just do it
Mm-hmm.
like that now.
Yeah, because I'm just like,
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of
it's
marketing and like posting. It's a whole different ball game from just simply creating the content. You got to
yeah,
market it too and just have strategy. So
it's a
I'm
whole
learning.
business.
Yeah, it is.
It's a whole nother, it's 9 to 5. Like, I'm like, girl, it's a whole nother 9 to 5. And I have my website. Well, like I said, I was thinking about,
Yeah.
doing some different things. And so I was looking into like these different website creators and I was like just going down the rabbit hole and I was like, oh, there's this and there's that. And oh my gosh, there's so many things.
Yeah.
It's exciting though, because I get to
Mhm.
learn all these things. I'm learning like new skills and I'm learning things along the way.
Right.
But I'm also like, ooh, okay, it's a lot. So a lot of
Yeah.
times I've definitely taken a step back.
Mhm.
I like you said, I'm not following any trends. You won't find me doing no TikTok
Yeah.
dances. I am doing me and I'm gonna share my content.
Right. Yeah.
I Yeah, and I believe whoever resonates with it will find it, and
Mhm.
that's my tribe. That'll be
Yeah.
my community. That's my people.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
not worried about it.
I'm not chasing the stuff anymore. I'm just like I'm
No.
creating what I want to, and that's actually a really healthy approach to it. And like I like to make this joke where, oh, I have 6 jobs because I'm writing a comic, I'm drawing the comic, I
Mm-hmm.
animate the comic, like I market it. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I had an assistant, but I mean I cannot pay them right now, so I'm gonna have to do that for myself.
Right, right. Because
Yeah.
that would be somebody like who obviously has the time and just labor of love. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
would like to do this for you because I think this would be great. X, Y, and Z. And I remember before I actually started my podcast, I kind of wanted everything to already be so perfect, so pristine. I wanted everything in place. I wanted everything to be just so.
Right. Right.
And so much so that I wasn't doing anything. Like, it's like, just start. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
just do the thing, just
Right.
draw, just put it
Yeah.
out, share the picture
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you don't have any movement. I was like, no, but I was like, I felt like I needed a team. I needed this.
Mhm.
I needed that. I'm not doing anything with all this researching and looking because I
Mhm.
do like the research though. I
Yeah.
do. I'm not a just jump into something head first kind of person.
Yeah.
I ideally like to do as much research as I can as possible. And I get some kind of footing
Right.
before I just hop in. But what I realized was I was in a perpetual loop of just researching.
Yes. Yeah.
I was
That
just,
vicious cycle. Right.
yeah, I was in this vicious cycle and I was like, no, just do it. So,
it. Yeah, because I mean,
Just do it.
to be honest, I didn't actually read a lot of manga and comics growing up. I have like a really tiny collection that I have from middle
Mm,
school that literally just fits in a drawer. So when I started in
yeah.
2013, I literally had no idea what I was doing. It just took me to like, keep experimenting and learn like what the actual format is to like,
Mm.
get better at it. And yeah, I mean, I just dove right in.
Now, with that, how long have you been drawing? Were you artsy as a child? Like, did you draw growing up? Was that always a skill, a gift that you had, was drawing and animating?
So I've been drawing since childhood, writing
Okay.
also since childhood because I always liked to be a storyteller, but back then I wasn't really putting the two together. The funny thing is I wanted to be an illustrator at some point in
Mm-hmm.
my life, but I was like, I keep getting bored with just looking at words, so I need something more engaging, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was like, oh well, let's put the two talents together and just try comics. And now I'm a comic artist, which I never thought I would be. And
Wow.
yeah, I taught myself animation since 2008. I just started, really starting to observe the cartoons and anime I was watching. I was like, okay, let's how to get this stuff to move. And I was
Yeah,
using Windows Movie Maker of all things to animate with the Paint program. So it's been crazy. I'm glad I have a really good
That's
software now.
that's awesome though. That's like really cool to just get that skill and you like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep getting better at it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep looking into it. And that's what I've been kind of doing also with like the overlays for Twitch. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well I can because I know some people they have websites where you can pay for the overlays, but then if you're also kind of creative, you can make your own overlay on Canva. And so I was like, well, let me just go on Canva and see what I can put together. And I just like I am very much a let me see what I can do myself before I be paying for it kind of person.
Like, yeah. Well, I agree. This economy is
See what I can do first. Let's see what I can figure out.
yeah.
And then I can look into maybe paying for something a little more if what I make or whatever I see, I feel like it's not sufficient enough for what I want.
Right.
But it's usually just fine, you know? It's kind of
Yeah.
like sometimes semantics. Like you're like, oh, I want this and that. I want it like a huge production. I want to already be in the studio. And it's like, girl, you set up a ring light and recording this microphone.
Like that, that faithfully.
Okay, because it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if your series had a soundtrack, what songs would be on the soundtrack?
Funny that you mentioned that because I've already been kind of building a soundtrack for it in
Mm-hmm.
BandLab. I don't know if you know that app, but it's like you
Uh-uh.
can build musical sounds and just put things together. So I haven't really played with like music like that in my life, but I don't know. I just see it so much ahead, and I know where I want to go with the series. I really want it to be animated. Like that's what I want to come to fruition. Like I want it to be an
Okay.
anime. I know it's not going to be like one for everybody because there's going to be erotic scenes. I will be very out loud about that. They need to be there. So clearly, it's going to be like an adult animated thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I would like
TVMA.
serial sounds, experimental, like a little mix of
Hmm.
what do you call it? What is it like lo-fi, like a mix of
Mm-hmm.
lo-fi, just a whole bunch of different things. And I want it to be a whole bunch of different things because I've always been this person who has a wide range of musical interests. Like if you go on my Instagram page, you see the different kinds of songs I use. Like I don't just stick to one genre. And I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people have noticed that. That was actually something I got bullied for when I was younger because people are like, "What the hell are you listening to? Like, what is that?"
Yeah.
I like Bjork. Bjork is amazing. She's like my spirit animal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like unique noises. So, of course, I would want my series to have really unique songs. And I've been working in it and experimenting with the musical part of it. And that's a monster in itself because it's like, girl, how much range are you going to have? Like, you're
Yeah.
doing
All
everything.
the range. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's fun. I like that because I always have like I always
Yes.
thought I had an ear for music, so it's been fun. It's been pretty
You
cool.
I I I've always I mean, children can be extremely cruel. I always think it's good to be not just one thing. Like I
Yeah,
think that's the excitement about life.
yeah,
That's how it should be. Like I don't just like only one genre, and I'm just
yes,
like, there may be some people who only listen to one genre who maybe don't want to explore, but I think exploration that's why my name is Infinite. Okay. Obviously, I believe in everything, all of it, everything all at once, First off, they're on a whole other planet, right? They're in the universe, they're in the cosmos. So of course the music should match it. Like of course the music would be something ethereal. Of course the music would be something like otherworldly. Of course the music would be something that's gonna like make you think about life.
Yeah.
But then when she's in there dancing, maybe you get a little pump, 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 pump. But why wouldn't you want something magical for such a magical story? Do you have a dream collaboration possibly, or make a dream project, or would the project be just to it being totally serialized into an anime?
Yeah, that's definitely just my main goal. Whether I have to do it the indie way, I mean, I would prefer to do it anyway because I feel like these corporations are really corrupt, and I don't want anyone poisoning my story. Like I want it to, be what I made it. So yeah, I might have to go the indie route, which means requiring lots of money and lots of planning. But I mean, it's not impossible. I'm 35. A lot of people start to see success like after 40, maybe closer to 50. So this is going to be a long series. I can already tell. Like we're on volume 4, and it's already past the 700-page mark. So
Yeah.
and there's definitely more story to tell. So I don't know.
In it for the long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am very much. I mean, if a corporation were to reach out right now about it, kind of would be very, I don't know, a little hesitant about it because I don't want them to poison the story. Like that's my big thing. I don't care how much money you're throwing at me. If you're poisoning the story, I don't want you to touch it. Period.
All bets are off. She's like, I'm finna be like, oh, I need to be in the room. I have to approve everything. As you should. I am so happy he's been in there with One Piece because all the live action. Have you seen the live action adaptations?
Yes, I love it. My sister and I are addicted to that.
They have been doing such a phenomenal job.
Yeah, actually, that is what made me want to start actually watching One Piece because I know how long it is, but it's like, damn, you gotta like really commit to One Piece if you're really gonna commit. But that
Yeah.
live action, they did so much justice that I was like, yes, I need to sit down and watch the anime just to compare. So crazy.
They're doing they big one too with this. You hear me? Because I am a One Piece fan. I started watching it maybe when it was on maybe arc 5 or so. I don't know. I didn't come in like right at the very beginning, so I did have like some catching up to do, but it wasn't anywhere as excessive as it is now. And so that being said, I never recommend One Piece to anybody because that's disrespectful at this point. You know what I mean? And so what I do tell people, I'm like, if you all do want to like kind of hop on the bandwagon or see what's the sensationalism is about, I always recommend, now I can suggest to them to watch the live action because the live action was done is extremely phenomenal. The casting, I mean, everything. For those people who have watched it, and when you do go back and actually, when you start the series, you're going to be like, oh, wow, check, check, check. I mean, they did a really, really great job with everything. And so I tell people, I say, listen, if you watch the live action, you can actually skip like the first season. Like the first season of the live action is literally the first season of One Piece.
Oh wow.
You can skip that one. And then this second season, they're kind of getting into the season of season 2.
Right.
And I'm just like, they're doing such a great job. And actually, when it came out this year, I wasn't expecting to come back so soon. But I, and you know what? And it's so funny because I know they probably was in the writing room, and it's always been a joke. And even when the live action came out, everybody was talking about how old the actors were going to be because the story is still going.
Yeah, them people be aging.
Yeah, that was like the actor is gonna be 80 by the time we get to whatever season. And so it's funny, which is really probably great for the actors too. I'm sure they're probably almost filming, almost nonstop because how fast they came out with the second season, they were already working on it. And so they know kind of how fast the story kind of progresses and how many seasons it is. And they've been doing a really good job with kind of condensing the story where it doesn't feel like anything has been left out and catching those like major moments so everything is still matching up with the shows.
Right.
So
Yeah,
They've
that
done a great job.
show. Yeah, that's also a future goal. If I can get it to be an anime, I would love for it to be a live adaptation too. That'd be
Yes.
pretty cool.
And it was something that came out on Amazon Prime a few years ago. I think it was called Has Hotel or
Oh my
something.
god, yes, Heaven Hotel and Hell of a Boss. I love Hell of a Boss more, but both of those shows are very great. Like, yes,
Girl,
I did. Yeah, they're
I
great.
had I covered that show, right? I talked
Mhm.
about the Hasman Hotel. I saw it on Amazon Prime. I said, "Oh, this looks crazy. Perfect for me. That's right up my alley." I was like,
Right.
"I'm pressing play. It looks like it's out of pocket." So I
Yes.
press play and I'm like, "Okay, this girl is, she's this daughter and she has all these expectations on her, but she's
Right.
really just like I just want everybody to have fun and,
Yeah.
just want everybody to chill out." And so I'm just following the story. And so I started looking into it and I
Mhm.
was like, "Wait, what? This was
Yeah.
a webtoon first, or this was like a Kickstarter kind of thing. This
Yeah.
started on like a
Yeah.
person's YouTube, that was
Mhm.
just sharing their story
Yeah.
that they created. And I was like,
Right.
oh my God, that is so
Right.
freaking cool. And so it's like
Yeah.
when you said that, I was like, I just love hearing
Yeah.
stories like that because I had no idea about it. So my first introduction
Mhm.
to it was on Amazon when it did, obviously
Oh,
get
yeah.
syndicated and it's
Mhm.
big. But I'm like, I'm late to the game. You got people who've been on about this since,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I saw it on YouTube first, so yeah, that's more. She's also more of an inspiration for me because she was able to get her stuff out there like that. So in hopes that I get the right people and or if it's a corporate company, they need to align with my wants and not the opposite way. Then yes, I would like I don't know, maybe it could be an Amazon Prime too.
Okay, because it was
Yeah,
definitely some not for safe stuff happening on that show. I said, wait a minute. I
yeah.
was, I didn't know what I was signing up for when I pressed play, but I'm not mad. I just didn't know.
Yeah, that and Hell of a Boss, you're gonna catch a lot of sexual themes in both those shows, but they're
Yeah.
both great. I love those.
Yeah. I was like, that's awesome. Okay. So if your younger self could see you now, what do you think she would say?
She would say that she wished she could have been more open about the side of herself much sooner. Because I came out in my late 20s, and like I said before, it was this comic that actually helped me do that. It made me realize just how closeted I was, and society just put so much pressure around the heteronormative narrative from the time we were born. So it's like really a confusing experience when you grow up because they're feeding you this picture and they're like you need to follow this and you feel another way but people are like down your throat like no it needs to be just like this so and I don't think that's right for me just looking at kids now it's like just people have the autonomy to learn themselves be themselves without judgment and hate and I feel like
Right.
the world would be happier and more peaceful place if it was like that. So
I
yeah,
agree. Just let people do what they're doing, as long as they're not harming other people.
yes, yeah, yeah. Emphasis on that.
Okay. Seriously on that. So, yeah.
Well, I am working on getting the physical books, but I'm gonna finish this volume first. So you might not see physical books again until like I don't know, maybe next year. So, because I mean, it takes me a while to like, because everything is in color. If it was in grayscale, it may take me less time to do, but that everything is in color because I made it in color because I feel like it translates more to an anime. Like people will be able to see it, like they're watching TV instead of like, oh, it's just like regular manga, black and white. And it's like, yeah, it's on purpose because it makes you visualize, wow, like what would this be like animated? And the perk is that I can actually animate, so I can make people feel closer to my characters just simply by animating themselves. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. It's a work in progress, but I hope to be working on it a long time. And yeah,
Yes, yes, you will. I mean, listen, you said you got a lot of story going on, so it's a lot. I'm sure it's gonna be continuing on. It's gonna be a lot of things coming to the surface.
mhm,
Well, you
mhm,
know what? And you mentioned the manga, so I don't read mangas,
mhm.
and I feel like the reason why I don't read mangas is because they can have so many volumes. And when I think about it, I'm just like, it's gonna take up so much space. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, where would I put all of these books?
Right.
And so I don't read them. And I know I could do it online, but I I'm an OG when it comes to reading. I ideally I want a physical book. I need to
Yeah.
smell the pages. I need to flip through it. Like
Right.
I need all the things.
I don't blame you.
I want all the things. So, and it's like, I remember when they started closing a lot of the libraries, I was so
Yeah.
devastated. I was so sad. Yeah, the Barnes and Nobles
Mhm.
and
Yeah, they were closing all. So my goodness. So yeah, it's
that's
like
when
rare for me to have a library close to. I have one close to me that they revamped, but I feel like not many people go in there. So
mm,
yeah,
dang,
I know.
cause yeah, that was like the kind of height of more technology, right? That's like when the Nook and the Kindle came out, and it was like, oh, pushing like the electronics, and I was like, no, I want it tangible. I need to be able to flip through these pages, like. And then, you have some people who just really love our bookmarks. Like, love a nice little cute bookmark. Do you remember the Scholastic book fair?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I used to love those.
Girl,
I was addicted. And I have pretty bookmarks, and I'm just trying to fill up my bookshelf that I have in my apartment now, but I have some really unique looking bookmarks, and I'm like, I gotta use them. But yeah,
exactly. I'm just like, oh my God. Cause I'm like, as far we keep going, so far and this and the third with the digital age, this and digital age,
yeah,
that, I'm just like, where's the tangibility? I mean, you know what? I might need to get somebody who deals with like the brain and how the brain functions. But I've already been seeing some things talking about how the kids nowadays are not on the same level
no,
of thinking because they have all this
I had kids.
technology.
Yeah, yep, I've had kids, and they're in trouble. It's kind of scary. Like they can't read a manual clock anymore. And I'm like, whoa, like this is our future generation,
I'm
guys.
hearing some of them can't tie their shoes. Some of them are
No,
still in Pampers when they should
yeah,
be out. Just
yeah, it's scary. Everyone's going backwards. So yeah, and plus now with all these little different AI assistants like ChatGPT and like Gemini, it's just all over the place, and it's like people don't even have to think anymore. A lot of companies are using it to do the work.
don't have to think anymore.
Yeah,
And
you don't
that's
have to
what's
think.
so scary about it. And you know what? And I want to say, like, maybe to my detriment, sometimes I still feel like I do things the hard way. For
Right.
instance, when it comes to cooking, right? I know they have like a million and one contraptions. You can use this to cut this. You can use that. Like all these things to help cutting and shaving faster, right? But then in my mind, I'm like, but if I get all of these things to help me where I could just put it down and use a knife and cut it, I'm
Yeah.
going to have a kitchen full of contraptions. When all I have to do is so simply is sit it down and
Yeah.
cut it manually with a knife. Like that's
Yeah.
not something that's hard. It may be a little
Mhm.
tiring sometimes, it may
Yeah.
take a little extra effort, but it's not something that's not doable for me, in
Mhm.
the form that I have, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's not like I have any limitations.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, like, and I don't think people think about it, and
Mhm.
it's sold, and people are asked, it's
Yeah.
sold in a way, and it's asked for in a way as such, it's like to make life easier, to make life
Mhm.
faster,
Yeah.
but it's dumbing you down. It's
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
away from basic skills you should know how to do,
Right. Right.
And
Yeah. But
are you all realizing this?
to
No?
be honest, I don't see how our past generations were using the maps while driving. That's what I need the GPS. I would not do that while I'm driving. I don't even know. I can't. I look at it and I get overwhelmed because how do my parents do this? I just don't know how. That's one thing this generation really doesn't know how
Cute.
because we have the GPS. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I don't want a whole bunch of contraptions. I just want to do things and get
Yes.
it done that way, so I don't have all this stuff
Yes.
just hanging around. But
And know how to do it and have the skill to know how to do it. And you know what? I saw a clip on YouTube and it was these two guys talking about video games. And it probably came to me because I'll be streaming video games. And you know what? And the point that they made was it was something I'm gonna paraphrase, but it was along the lines of like, so pretty much they was like, okay, so today's generation, they're used to instant gratification, right? They're used to instant gratification. And so when they're playing these video games, and they gave Fortnite for an example, and it's like almost endless. They can continue to change skins, they can go here, they can go there. There's no true start or finish to the game. versus in our generation, we had Mario.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, right. And so you had Mario. So there was a distinctive start, middle, and the end. And if you did not complete up to one point, you had to start over.
Yep. Yep.
It was no, you can just now la 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 and go off and do something else, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember the term that they used, but pretty much it taught us like it dang, I'm gonna have to find the word that they use, but it pretty much taught us resilience. It taught us patience in a way, right? Because we're like, we died, okay, it's gonna start us over. And we had to keep going. We had to keep doing the thing. We couldn't just give up and do something else. We couldn't just like wander and veer off. And so it taught us that consistency of seeing something through to the end.
Right.
That the children nowadays, they don't have that structure.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty scary. So
it's crazy out here.
It makes me glad that I was kind of born in. I mean, I was born in '90s, so it makes me kind of glad. I mean, it is also overwhelming because as an adult, I'm just seeing the technology just change before my eyes, and all these social media platforms, which is way too many now. I miss MySpace, by the way, but
I did have a MySpace. Wait, did you have a Black Planet? Because I had a Black Planet.
Vaguely remember that, but I did not. I was actually not supposed to be on MySpace.
Funny.
I was like, no, we're not getting you onto Facebook or whatever. Kids will be kids and get onto whatever. It's like that's why I'm like, what? I'm glad I don't have kids right now because I don't know if I could chase them around with like all the social media. Like, what are they on? They're like, what do you want? What are you hiding? There's apps where you can hide your messages. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I really don't want them.
Recently I've been seeing these commercials for Instagram. Is it Instagram or Facebook for teenagers? That might have been Instagram for teenagers. And I'm like, now after what, 50 years or 30 years or like whatever, and I'm like, and then what's stopping them from like creating another page? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess. Sure. But now.
Yeah, we went off on a tangent there, but
No, but it was good. It's all like still relevant. It's like in the creative space. And oh no, that's what I was gonna say. So speaking of stuff we weren't supposed to be doing. So I remember I was at a sleepover at a friend's house and her parents, like they had, this was still dial up where the internet was plugged into the wall.
Yes.
And so they had a computer. And so we was at a sleepover. It was all us girls. And we were supposed to be asleep. Parents are sleeping in the room. We all, it's like about 5 or 6 of us in the bed and in our like sleeping bags on the floor. And so she's like, okay, my parents are asleep. So we get up, we sneak to the computer. And it's this, the dial up. Like it was taking forever. It's so funny. And so we're on this dial up waiting. So anyway, we get on there. And so we're on this AOL chat room. We had no business being in no AOL chat room, girl. So we in the chat room, we all acting like the same person. So somebody like, we in there, coming into whatever people saying in the chat room. And then whatever somebody say, we'll all like take turns like responding or saying whatever. It was a riot.
I actually looked that up like a couple months ago. Like, is AIM still around? I don't know. I was having a nostalgia moment, and they said that it got officially was gone in 2017. I didn't know it lasted that long.
Right?
Wow. Yeah, I was like, whoa. I mean, it did what it needed to do, but I wish there was. I mean, you don't need stuff like that. You can literally call people on Instagram and do FaceTime and all that stuff on the social media now. So
right. Yeah. And now they have like dating apps on the phone and all these things. So
yeah, I will not be partaking in those anymore because that's where I met people that were not for me.
Is that where you met the other 2 people? Yeah. I have never honestly used a dating app.
Yeah.
Like I made a OkCupid years ago, I remember. Yeah. And I only made the OkCupid because I wanted to see the questions that they asked. Have you heard of OkCupid?
Yes, but I haven't been on that one.
Yeah, so OkCupid was different from what I could see in the sense that they actually ask you questions to truly like best match with people. So they would ask you like, what's your political stance? How do how do you feel about math, science? Like real questions that you would probably that you should be asking, to truly get to know people.
Right.
And then from there they will like match you with people. But I was only on there for the questions because I was like intrigued. I was like, oh, what questions are they gonna ask me? Like,
Yeah.
ooh, it was kind of
Yeah.
neat. But like I've never like actually used a dating
Okay.
app. But I do have, some homegirls of mine who use dating apps. I'm just like,
Yeah.
girl, it sounds
It's
scary.
it's draining because the whole swipe thing, I get overwhelmed swiping through Netflix. So you can only imagine
Mm-hmm.
how frustrating it is to swipe through people and you have to like judge their picture and be like, oh, is this person gonna be cool or not? And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just over it. Like, I'm just not gonna do it
And
anymore.
honestly, I don't think a dating app would be for me because I'm not good at talking about myself. I would probably have the worst bio. Like it would. Yuck, yuck. It would be the worst bio. I couldn't even. I couldn't even
Yeah.
fake give you a bio now. I'm not even gonna worry about it. I don't need to worry about that.
Right. Yeah. Plus, there's a lot of creeps on there too. So it's like, you get either hit
Yeah.
or miss. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not about it.
Yeah, I still think the best way to meet people is like true connection, like out and about, common interests. Maybe we're both at a basketball game or we're both
Right.
out doing whatever, living our lives. You're at an art gallery. I also like art,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the best
Right.
way because I
That's
can't
what I'm at
even.
mentally now. Like I'm not fully introverted. I consider myself both introverted and extroverted. Like I don't mind being my space, but sometimes I do get a little stir crazy. So like I
Mhm.
want to go on an adventure, and it's like I want to meet people, but sometimes people don't really align. Like I feel like that connection it will not last long. So it's like, what's the point? So it's about
Mhm.
trying to find those spaces where I know that maybe I will find people that I can align to better. So I'm in that stage now, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because like people who gotten to know me or been around me for a certain amount of time, they're like, I don't see you as an introvert. I don't think you're introvert. And I'm like, I mean, okay. I think it's also like different levels too. Like I'm, and I kind of try to put it into focus for them this way. I'm like, I'm very much personable. I
yes,
can have a conversation with anyone about anything.
right,
Um, am I going to start the conversation? No, definitely not. I will not be walking up to you saying, "Oh, hey, my name
yeah,
is." Never.
right,
I won't be
right,
saying anything to you, good lady. You're gonna be across the room. I'm gonna look and be like, "Oh, her outfit is cute." And most of the time, I'll give someone maybe a compliment,
yes, that's what
but
I do
that's
too.
still, yeah, but it still kind of takes me a little time to warm up to that. Like, do I
Right,
really want to say it? Like, do I,
right,
like, ooh? And I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, hey, I like your hair. I like your whatever."
yeah,
Okay, cool. And that's
yeah,
it. I don't feel like I need to draw the conversation out
yeah,
longer.
mhm,
I don't need to ask you about the weather. Like, I
yeah,
just came to say that one thing, and I
yeah.
gotta go.
Right, right, exactly. I'm the same way. And most of the time when I'm doing compliments, it's like someone who's like helping me out with something. Like if I'm at the grocery store and I'm at the register and I see someone's nails, like, oh, your nails look so cute. Like,
Uh huh.
yeah. But no,
Yeah.
like if I'm in the store, I'm so focused on getting my stuff in the aisles. I'm not looking at anybody. Like I just want to get out and go. But yeah, it's all
Please. Immediately, yes. I'm like, I'm personal. I can have a
Mhm.
conversation with anyone, but to start a conversation, I'm not now. If say, and then I explain to them also, I'm like, now if there's already been like, if the ice is already broken, like, oh, hey, this is my friend Infinite, this is so and so, so and so. Okay, cool. The ice has already been broken. Then now, it's a little warmed, and now I can kind of talk to this person about whatever.
Yeah.
But I will not be initiating any conversations because I'm awkward as hell, and I'm okay to just sit here in silence.
I think bubbliness saves me in those kind of situations because I don't think I'm like a awkward conversator because you can tell like it's easy for me to laugh. I'm not stoic faced, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
smiling. So yeah, but I mean, as I grow older, I'm more of preserving my peace, and I'm fine now, man. I'm good. Like I have an
Yeah.
imagination that goes literally 24/7, and yeah, I
Listen,
would be entertained.
okay. I be telling people, I said, listen, I got my anime. I can go wherever I want. I'm exploring, trust you me. And when I'm not doing my anime, when I'm taking my trips, going around the world, I'm exploring, baby. I'm living enough. Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay, so in closing, tell the people where they can find you on Instagram and on your website.
Okay, well, my website is www.onelayergirl.com. Also, same with Blue Sky. Just all you really have to do is go into Google, type in Our Little Universe, all my stuff pops up because I guess that's how much people know about it. They say if you're in the front page of Google, then that's a good thing. I'm like, yes, my website comes up first because a funny story. The website was originally supposed to be the domain of Our Little Universe, but someone had taken it. So I said, okay, fine. I'll just put One Layer Girl, my alias, and yeah. Now I still pictures. I don't even know if it's her, but theirs is like on the second page or third page or something.
Not on the second or third page. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, very easy Google search. All my stuff will pop up. So yeah.
That is awesome. And all her links where you can find her will also be posted on the YouTube page. So you all be able to find this as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us. I really enjoy having you.
Yes, you're welcome. It was very fun for a very first podcast. So exciting. Looking forward to
Yay!
it.
First podcast.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
Yeah, you're my first podcast, so that's awesome.
Hopefully, yes, girl, because we need this on your page so people can hear your story and hear you talking about all the things. I think they'll be really grateful to hear from you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you again. All right, you guys, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, add myself and ZeeBee on all of our socials. And I'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.